Hello, this is a video on how to play the card game All Fours. All Fours is a card game that is sort of different, and so what you'll need is, and we'll talk about what what just happened right there. Okay, a lot of stuff is happening. Okay, a lot of stuff just happened, and so a standard 52 card deck is used. In each suit, cards rank from ace being the highest and 2 being the lowest. There are 4 players in 2 fixed partnerships, with the partners sitting opposite from each other. So Luke is my partner, and then Anne and Steve are partners as well. Now, the objective of the game is to score points by winning tricks with valuable cards in them. The player or team that takes more valuable cards and tricks will score 1 point at the end of the round for having the most value in cards. In addition, there are points for taking the Jack of Trumps in a trick, and for the holders of the highest and lowest trumps dealt. It is also possible for the dealer's team to score points for the cards turned up for trumps during the deal. Deal and play are counterclockwise, and the turn to deal passes to the right after each hand. Each player is initially dealt 6 cards. So, as you can see, we do have more than 6 cards, but what we will do here is we will stop, we'll resume back from the beginning, and so I can show you that it is indeed 6 cards. As you can see, we will deal here with each player being dealt 6 cards.
Okay,
so each player is dealt 6 cards. And so when everybody has 6 cards, the dealer turns the next card face up right here to reveal the trump suit. If this turned up card is an ace, 6, or jack, the dealer's team scores for it as follows. So let's get a start from the beginning. Deal 6 cards, flip the next card of the deck. If it's an ace, 6, or jack, the dealer's team scores 1 point for an ace, 2 points for a 6, 3 points for a jack. If the player on the dealer's right is happy with the trump suit that is shown, they say stand. If the player on the dealer's right prefers a different trump suit, they say I beg. So, if they say I beg, the dealer has the option to change trumps or to keep the suit of the turned up card as trumps. So, the player immediately to the right of the dealer, in this case the player anti-clockwise or counterclockwise, either says stand to deal with the trump card or says I beg, which means that they want a different trump card. If they say I beg, the dealer then has the option to change trumps or to keep the suit of the turned up card as trumps. If the dealer decides to keep the trumps as turned up, he says take 1. The opponents of the dealer receive 1 point and play begins. If the dealer agrees to change the trump suit, they set aside, and so I was the dealer here, right? And so Mary begged, meaning Mary wants me to change the trump suit. So now it is my turn as the dealer to decide whether to keep the trumps as turned up. The trumps are clubs, and I would indeed, I guess I can indeed change the suit. It's not that big of a deal to me. So if I decided to keep the trumps as, to keep the clubs as trump, I would say give 1. Or I would say take 1, right? I would either give 1 to them, or I would literally say out loud, take 1. That means that the opponents of the dealer, in this case Mary and Luke, would get 1 point. If the dealer agrees to change the trump suit, in this case I am the dealer, I would set aside the turned up card, I would deal 3 more cards to each player, and then turn up the next card to determine the trump suit. So I agree to change the trump suit. I deal 3 more cards to each player. I turn up the next card to determine the trump suit, which would mean makes it spades. Once again, if you turn up the trump suit and it is an ace, so when turning up this card, if it is an ace, a 6, or a jack, you receive 1, 2, and 3 points respectively. 1 point for an ace, 2 points for a 6, and 3 points for a jack. If this new turned up trump suit is of a different suit than the first trump suit, play begins with this new suit as trumps. In this case, the first trump suit was clubs. This is spades. It's different, so play can begin with this suit as trumps. In the event that the new turned up suit is the same suit as before, the dealer gives another 3 cards to each player and turns up another card. Once again, every time you turn up a card, the dealer has the ability to score it if it is an ace, jack, or 6. This procedure is repeated until the turned up card produces a new trump suit. If the deck is exhausted before a new trump suit is found, and the odd chance that it is, the entire deck is reshuffled and redealt. So, the player on the dealer's right has the first lead, and the winner of the trick leads the next trick. Any card can be led, but the other players are subject to the following rules. You must follow suit. You must follow the lead suit whenever possible. The trick is won by the highest ranking trump card. If no trumps are played, it is won by the highest card of the lead suit. If you do not have a card in the lead suit, you can play any card. And so it's just standard trick-taking rules, just like with any other game. And so you continue doing this, right? Once again, the objective is to win the highest ranking, win tricks with the highest value cards. In this case, I believe Stacy played the 6 of clubs. Okay, so Mary led the trick with a jack of clubs. I can actually win this trick with a king of clubs, so that's what I'll do. I won the trick with a king of clubs, okay? And so we'll sum it up all at the end, but so far, 6 cards to each player. The player to the right of the dealer can either say, I beg, if they want you to change the trump suit. The dealer can choose to listen to their beg. If they do, the dealer deals 3 cards to each player and flips up the top card and keeps doing this until a new trump suit is decided. If not, the opponents score 1 point if the dealer tries to keep the suit as is. Now, after that, you simply choose to play the game, the objective being to win tricks with high value cards in them. Remember, anytime the dealer turns up the trump suit card and turns it up to decide a new trump suit, they have the ability to score points if it is an ace, a 6, or a jack. Trick-taking rules are standard. You must follow the lead suit whenever possible. The winner of the trick is the highest ranking card in the trump suit. If no trump card is played, the winner of the trick is the player with the highest ranking card in the lead suit. Play continues until all players have played all of their cards. In this case, let us lead with the jack. Yeah, we'll lead with the jack. So Mary. That's a diamond played. I do have a diamond, so I must follow suit. Nope. And sorry, I did have an error there. The trick-taking rules are different in that you can always play a trump card no matter what. So if someone plays a card of the lead suit and you have a card in that lead suit, you do not have to play it. You can play a trump card in the place. So trick-taking rules are standard. you have to either follow lead suit or play a trump card. Those are the two plays you can make. So here we have to follow lead suit because we do not have any trump cards. But if we did have a spade, even though we have hearts, we could go ahead and play the spade. In essence, you can always either play a trump or follow the lead suit. Both of those moves are always plausible. If you don't have a trump and you don't have a card in the lead suit, you can play a card of any suit. And so we'll get rid of the 3 of hearts there. Okay.
A big. Take one.
Okay. So let us talk about that. And so play continues until all players have played all of their cards. If the original trump suit was accepted, there will be 6 tricks, but if a change of trump suit was begged for and allowed, the players will have larger hands and there will be 9 or 12 tricks, or possibly even more. Not really even more, right? Because 12 is the maximum, mostly. But at the end of the play, points are scored for the cards that were dealt or taken in tricks. The points are as follows. 1 point is given by the team of the player who had the highest ranking trump card in the trick that they won. 1 point is given to the team who held the lowest ranking trump card that was dealt. And so if you are dealt the lowest ranking trump card but not taking it in a trick, then 1 point is given to you. If the jack of trumps wins a trick or is won in a trick, the team with the jacks scores 1 point. If the jack is captured in a trick won by the opponents of the holder, the team capturing the jack scores 3 points for hanging jack. In other words, if you play a jack, so if your team has a jack and you win the jack by playing it in a trick, you get 1 point. If your team has a jack, but the opponents end up winning that trick, they end up capturing the jack. The jack of trumps we are talking about here. Right? And so if your team has the jack of trumps and wins that trick, you get 1 point. If your team has the jack of trumps, but the other team wins the trick, they ended up capturing the jack. Thus, they get 3 points for hanging jack. Game, you get 1 point. That goes to the team that wins the more valuable cards and tricks. For this purpose, only the top 5 cards in each suit have point values. Ace is equal to 4, king is equal to 3, queen is equal to 2, jack is equal to 1. 10 is equal to 10. Other cards have no value. Each team adds up the total value of the cards in their tricks, and whichever team has more scores a game point. So that's a singular point. If both teams have the same value of cards, no one gets this game point. Each team keeps a cumulative total of points they have won, and the first team to reach a total of 14 or more points over however many hands it takes wins the overall game. And so, do note that, let us simply look at the set of rules again to sum it up here, because I believe it will be quite beneficial for understanding the game. And so, this game is actually invented in Trinidad and Tobago, by the way, so it's a new area, new location. We haven't really looked at a card game from there. But basically, 6 cards to each player. The player to the dealer's right can say, I beg, if they prefer a different trump suit. The dealer then has the option to change trumps or keep the suit of the turned up card as trumps. If the dealer decides to keep the trumps as turned up, he says take 1, or he gives 1 or he just gives one to the opponent team, a point. The opponents of the dealer would receive 1 point, and play would begin. If the dealer agrees to change the trump suit, they set aside the turned up card, they deal 3 more cards to each player, and then they turn up the next card to determine the trump suit, scoring for it as above if it is an ace, jack, or 6. If the new turn up is of a different suit than the first turn up, play begins with this new suit as trumps. If the new turned up card is of the same suit as before, the dealer gives another 3 cards to each player and turns up another card, once again scoring again if it is an ace, jack, or 6. This procedure is repeated until the turn up produces a new trump suit. If the deck is exhausted before a new trump suit is found, the entire deck is reshuffled and redealt. The dealer's team keeps any points they have scored for turned up cards. The player on the dealer's right has the first lead, and the winner of the trick leads the next trick. Any card can be led, but tricks are subject to the following rules. You can play a card either following... So, you must either follow the lead suit or play a trump card. Those are your 2 options. You can do either or whenever you want. And so even if you can follow the lead suit, but you don't want to, you can choose to play a trump card. And so you must either follow the lead suit or play a trump card. Obviously, if you cannot follow the lead suit and you cannot play a trump card, then you can play any card. Do note that you can either follow the lead suit or play a trump, but it's up to you, right? And so if you cannot follow the lead suit, you can, if you do not have any cards of the lead suit, then you can play any card. And so in essence, follow the lead suit or play a trump card. The trick is won by the highest trump card played. If no trump cards are played, the trick is won by the highest ranking card in the lead suit. Play continues until all players have played all of their cards. This depends on the number of turn-ups that there were. So there are 4 ways to score points. And as you can see, when I sum it up like this, the rules are quite concise because the game is quite simple. There are 4 ways to score points. You get 1 point for a high. This point is won by the team of the player who had the highest trump. You get 1 point for a low. This point is won by the team of the player that held the lowest trump that was dealt. It does not matter who wins the trick containing this trump. The point is for the original holders. There's also, you can score for a jack. That's 1 or 3 points. If the jack of trumps is won in a trick, if the jack of trumps is won in a trick by the team that originally had it, the team with the jacks scores 1 point. If the jack of trumps is captured in a trick won by the opponents that did not originally have the jack, the team capturing the jack scores 3 points for hang jack. Obviously, it is possible that the jack of trumps will not be dealt. In that case, no teams would score points for it. And 1 more point for game. This point goes to the team that wins the more valuable cards in tricks. For this purpose, the top 5 cards in each suit have the following values. Ace is equal to 4, king is equal to 3, queen is equal to 2, jack is equal to 1, 10 is equal to 10. All other cards have no value. Each team adds up the total value of their cards in their tricks, and whichever team has the more total value scores the game point. Once again, if both teams have the same total value of cards, no one gets the game point. Each team keeps a cumulative total of points they have won, and the first team to reach a total of 14 or more points wins the overall game. Do note that one way you can score a lot of points is by turning up, and so if the turned up card when the dealer is dealing is an ace, 6, or a jack, the dealer's team scores for it as follows. If the dealer turns up an ace when determining the trump suit, you score 1 point. If the dealer turns up a 6 when assigning the trump suit, the dealer's team scores 2 points. If the dealer turns up a jack whilst assigning the trump suit, the dealer's team scores 3 points. So you can score a greater number of points during the deal. So this game is quite arbitrary, but it's beautiful because it's from an area of the world that isn't really talked about, Trinidad and Tobago, and so we haven't really, most of the games we have dealt with have been European, and so it's nice to get some, I guess, Caribbean card games in here. And it'll just be cool, right? If you know someone from the Caribbean, they most definitely know how to play all fours. It's very popular in the Caribbean. And so it's a game which you can bond over or simply have a great conversation, whatever the case may be. Now you can have one more card game in your arsenal, which is especially useful for those relatives from the Caribbean, or friends from the Caribbean, or family from the Caribbean, or if you decide to visit there yourself. That wraps up how to play all fours. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed.